Hello everyone. Today we are going to make a revision video for the final. Okay, let's get started. We can start with the topic of utility or benefit. This is also called utility. Okay, let's start. There are two approaches for understanding the mechanism of utility or benefit. The first one is cardinal approach. In cardinal approach, we see that the benefit measured by the numerical number. Okay, that's the idea of cardinal utility approach. And I'm not gonna give the all detail, but I make summarize the topics. That's why maybe you are going to back and open my slides for getting the details. I'm gonna upload it. I said two approach for the utility. The second one is ordinal approach. This time we cannot measure by the numerically, rather than we use ranking and comparison, okay? Before looking the indifference curve, let's look at that graph. In our lecture, I gave detail about indifference curve, and I remember that we said in the same indifference curve, we get the same utility. So in indifference curve 2, I2, the points C, B, and D give the same utility level. And the uttermost curve on the point denoted with A give the highest utility. And point E give the few utility. So if I ask, please compare the level of utility level, you are going to say A is greater than C, equal to B, equal to D, greater than E. Okay? That's the way of comparing the utility level of on the graph of indifference curve. Okay, let's delete that part. Okay, then let's look the features of the indifference curve. The first one is indifference curve or indifference curves do not intersect. The second one is indifference curves are negatively sloped. You already see on the graph. And mostly indifference curves are convex to the origin, okay? Then move on. I'm not gonna give the detail, but before that, let's talk about a little bit budget part. I said normally we are going to choose A because the outside of the box curve give the highest utility. That's why we always try to catch the highest utility. But when we come to the real life, we always want much more, but it's related with our budget or income. If we don't have money, how can we reach point A? It's not possible. So for choosing which point, we are looking to our budget. The tangent point of budget line and indifference curve give or show our choices to get maximized utility, okay? So let's turn to budget equation. And let's assume that we have two goods. And the assumption set, we make expenditure on only that two goods, X and Y. And we have to pay all our money. And we don't get any or borrow money from anywhere. That's why our expenditure on X and expenditure on Y equal to our budget. Okay. So that is the budget equation. In previous slides, I said normally we try to catch point A to get the highest utility, but in real life, we have to look our budget. By looking to our budget, we look at the budget line. This blue line is budget line. That budget line draw with using the budget equation. So, for example, if I ask which point do you choose to get highest utility? Exactly, point B. And point B denoted tangent point of budget line and indifference curve. Okay. And at point B, the marginal rate of substitution, MRS, equal to slope of budget line. I'm not gonna give detail here, but we talked in the lecture. And that point, for getting the highest utility point, point B, called consumer equilibrium. And in the consumer equilibrium, the slope of budget line and marginal rate of substitution is equal. And by using some equations, the consumer equilibrium turn into that shape, okay? That is the marginal utility per price rule. That show the marginal utility per price rule. But if I ask what is the consumer equilibrium, you use that equation. And if I ask, for example, I give two goods and budget, I give total utility, marginal utility, and marginal utility per price, and then ask how much can we consume with our income to get highest utility? We are going to use marginal utility per price rule. Okay. And there are some steps for choosing which goods can we get. Okay, let's talk about that. If marginal utility per price for X greater than Y, we choose X. Okay. If marginal utility per price for Y greater than X, this time choose Y. If there is a equality, it's like a consumer equilibrium. That means that you get the equal satisfaction from consuming X and Y. At that time, exactly you get the cheaper one. Okay. I'm not gonna give which one is cheaper, so it's depend on the question. And that is the question. We have a two goods, apple and orange. Apple is 1 Turkish lira, as you see over here. Orange is 2 Turkish lira. And in the first column, sorry about it, that is quantity. The second column is total utility. The third marginal utility. And the last one is marginal utility per price. Maybe I'm gonna give the marginal utility formula. Marginal utility is equal to When you see marginal, you put delta in both parts. Then we talk about the total utility. Total utility divided quantity. Okay. And in the question, I give the total utility. Okay, let's find the marginal utility. In the zero level, there is no marginal because marginal means additional. So there is no marginal. And I forget to write something. In the zero level, total utility is zero. Sorry for that. Okay, let's talk about it and put again. And what we see over here, the changes of quantity is 1. And our marginal utility formula is delta total utility divided delta quantity. So that part is 1. So it is possible to look at only change in total utility. Okay, let's look at it. In the zero level, tot there is no marginal utility. Sorry about it. Then move to the 1. What is the change over here? 10. Then 10 to 18, 8. And it's going to like that, okay? 6, 5, 4, and 3. Let's turn to the orange part. 24, start with 24, 20, 18, 16, 12, 6, and 4. I'm just gonna look at the change in total utility because changing quantity part is 1 for that question. And the last column set, you find the marginal utility. Let's divide for the price. And price is for apple 1, orange for 2. And again, there is no marginal utility per price for the zero level. So 10 to 1, 10. 8 to 1, 8. It's going to like that. In the orange part, we divide marginal utility 2. That's mean 24 divide 2. 12. 20 divide 10. 20 divide 2, sorry. 10. It's going to like that. 9, 8, 6, 3, and 2. Then in the question, I give some budget and ask how much can we consume apple and orange to get the highest utility? Find the number and draw the consumer equilibrium by using indifference curve and budget line. Okay, let's assume that our budget is 10 Turkish lira. By using how much can we, for choosing, we can use the marginal utility per price rule. So we are comparing the last column. Marginal utility per price for apple and marginal utility per price for the orange. If we get 1 apple, we get 10. If we get 1 orange, we get 12. Which one is greater? Exactly orange. So in our first selection, we choose orange. And orange is 2 Turkish lira. That's why we pay 2 Turkish lira for the orange. So we have 8 Turkish lira left. This is our first choice. In the second choice, if we get 1 apple, we are still get 10 marginal utility per price. But we are moved down to the orange for the second because we already consumed the first orange. So 10 to 10. If there is an equality, we choose the cheaper one. And cheaper one is apple. This time we get the apple. And apple is 1 Turkish lira. Let's pay it. We have 8 Turkish lira left. And for the apple, we consume it so we can move down. This time 8 to 10. Exactly this time orange. So 5 Turkish lira left for paying 2 Turkish lira. We are for the apple, we are still on the second row, but for the orange, we consume it so we can move down. This time 8 to 9, still orange is the winner. We pay 2 Turkish lira more, so 3 Turkish lira left. Then move down. 8 to 8 this time. Equality. This time cheaper one is winner and apple is the cheaper. So we pay 1 more Turkish lira. So we have 2 Turkish lira left. And we move down to the apple for consuming. Then for getting 1 more apple, we get 7. For getting 1 more orange, we get 8. Which one is greater? Exactly orange. And we pay our last 2 Turkish lira. And we find the optimum level of consumption. Let's calculate it. 1, 2 apple, and 4, 2 apple, and 4 orange give the optimum or highest utility level for the consumption with 10 Turkish lira budget. And in the second part of question, we draw a graph and find the consumer equilibrium. Okay, let's draw the budget line firstly. By drawing budget line, we use the budget equation. So let's remember the detail. Apple is 1 Turkish lira. Orange is 2 Turkish lira. And our budget is 10. Let's write the budget equation. 1 multiply quantity of apple plus 2 multiply quantity of orange. That is equal to budget 10. Okay. For finding the point of apple and orange, we find the maximum amount of what we get. For 10 budgets, how many apple can we get? 10. Or for 10 Turkish lira, how many can we get? 5. So 10 for apple, 5 for orange for showing the maximum amount, and then we draw the budget line. And what we can find for the optimum level? 2 apple and 4 orange. Let's show on the graph. And the intersection level of optimum level and budget line, that point, we can draw the indifference curve for the tangent point of budget line. Okay, so that point is consumer equilibrium. Okay, that's the question for the utility. Okay, then let's skip the short-term formulas part. Okay, let's firstly write down, then we can remember. I said the first formula is total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Let's assume that we can divide all parts to the quantity. Total cost divided quantity equal to total fixed cost divided quantity plus total variable cost to the quantity. If we divide one thing to the quantity, you are going to find the average. So average total cost equal to average fixed costs. So this is F, sorry about it, plus average variable cost. Okay. So there are two formulas for average total cost. The first one is average fixed cost plus average variable cost, and the second one is average total cost divided quantity. Then we are able to talk about marginal costs. What can I say? When you find the when you see the marginal, we put delta in both sides, then put T, then get the last letter, TC, divided quantity. But in the short run, that is fixed. Total fixed cost is fixed number or constant number. So the changes of total variable cost show on the same effect on the total cost. So this is true for delta total variable cost divided delta quantity. Okay. Then we are able to talk about profit. Normally in the profit, total revenue minus total costs. We know the formula of total revenue, price multiply quantity, and total cost formula is by getting the total cost formula, we can use that one. Average total cost formula is total cost divided quantity. Let's move to the other side. Total cost is equal to average total cost multiply quantity. Okay. So we are able to like in average total cost divided quantity. So that profit formula turn into that way. Price minus average total cost multiply quantity. Okay. Okay, sorry. Let's start. Let's delete it and look at it again. Okay, same thing. And also I give more detail. Okay. You should memorize these formulas. And then in our lecture, we talk about and drew the graph. I'm gonna give some details about this relationship between average total cost and average variable cost. The gap between these parts come from the shape of average fixed cost. So these parts come from over here. These parts come over here, and this part is equal to that part. Okay, you see? And one more thing, the shape of marginal cost, it's look like Nike brand. The marginal costs go through to the minimum point of average variable cost and go through to the average total cost of minimum. Okay. And let's talk about perfect competition. market. Or sometimes I said perfect competitive firm. It's like that. But market and firm is different thing. Let's talk about the features. Oops, sorry. Features of perfect competition market. The first feature is there are many buyers and sellers in the market. So market determine the price. Firms cannot influence the price. The firms have to get the price of market. So they cannot influence the price. So firms called price taker. Let's come to the second feature. And firms produce and sell the homogeneous or identical product. Firms can exit and enter market easily. Buyers and sellers have perfect information. These are the features of perfect competition. Okay. I'm not gonna give the whole detail, but if you don't have a notes, please take from your friends. I said firms are price taker. They cannot influence the price. Price come from the market, and that price come from the intersection point of supply and demand. So that price level is the price of the firms, and that's why they cannot influence the price. So the firm's demand curve is perfectly elastic. It's like that. And we said demand is equal to price, equal to average revenue, equal to marginal revenue. I'm not gonna give the detail, but this is the equality for the perfect competition. Or we can talk about perfect competitive market, the same thing. I'm not gonna give the detailed part. But in the last step, we find this equality to derive other steps. Hmm. We talk about the features of perfect competition market. In perfect competition market, how firms can maximize their profit? That's the questions. As long as marginal revenue greater than marginal cost, we are keep going to the produce it. But in the point of marginal revenue equal to marginal cost, give the highest profit level. But I said in the perfect competition market, demand is equal to price equal to marginal revenue equal to average revenue. So in perfect competition market, price equal to marginal revenue. So we are also right in that form. So price equal to marginal revenue equal to marginal cost point give the not utility, profit maximizing level. This is the optimum point. Or it's not a true word. At that point, you may get the highest utility, or maybe there's a loss condition over there. The loss is the minimum, okay? That's more true word. How can I ask by using a table you see over there and by using the graph? Okay, let's assume that Price is 50. What can I say? The firms of perfect competition or perfect competitive, they are the price taker, not maker. So they have to obey this price. So price is 50. And one more thing, in perfect competition, price is equal to marginal revenue. Okay. And let's look at the question. How much will the firm produce in the short run? They produce when price equal to marginal cost and marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. The firm chooses to produce at that level, okay? The total fixed cost is a constant number, so they are all the same in all row. And the first formula is total cost equal to total variable costs plus total fixed cost. So 100 equal to 0. So this is 0. But before that, in the question, I give the price. So price is the fix. And I said price equal to marginal revenue. Okay, let's write the price for in all row. Then come to that part. I said, let's give the formula. So 30, 50, 60, it's going to like that. So the first formula is total cost equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Then come to the average variable cost. That is total variable cost divided quantity. 0 divided by 0, undefined. Then 30 divided 1, 30. It's going to like that. Let's come to the total cost, average total cost part. And let's remember the formula of average total cost. Total cost divided quantity. Or average fixed cost plus average variable cost. But I think that formula is more easy to get answer. So total cost divided quantity. 100 divided 0, 130 divided 1, and it's going to like that. And in your exam, you are able to use calculator. Okay, then let's come to the marginal cost part. And marginal cost is equal to delta total cost divided delta quantity. Or delta total variable cost divided delta quantity. And as you see, the change of quantity is 1 in all row. So that part is 1. So we are able to look only the changes of total cost. In the 0 level, there is no marginal cost. Then you see 30, 20, 10, 12. It's going to like that. Then let's come to the total revenue part. I give the formula, but in the question, I'm not gonna give the formula, okay? You should know the formulas. Price multiply quantity. 0, 50 multiply 0, 50 multiply 1, 50. It's going to like that. Then let's come to the profit part. In the profit, I said we use two formula, total revenue minus total cost, or price minus average total cost. Multiply quantity. But in the table question, please use that formula. Okay? That's more easy to get answer. So 0 minus 100 minus 100, 50 minus 130. Yeah, I can delete that part. 100 minus 150. It's going to like that. And the question asks, which one points can we choose to produce it, or which quantity? The point is that is equal to marginal revenue. As long as marginal revenue greater than marginal cost, we keep going to produce it. Produce it. Sorry, I write wrongly. So in the first row, marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, so that we can continue produce it. You see, so at that level, there is equality. After that, that turns into the, again, I write wrong, sorry about it. So as long as marginal revenue greater than marginal cost, we keep going to produce it. And the equality part give the highest profit part or the minimum loss. So we are going to choose that row. That row show 9. Okay. So the condition is price equal to marginal cost or marginal revenue equal to marginal cost give the what we choose for the production level. Okay. And I'm going to show the graph part, or graphical part. Okay, I'm gonna say the same thing. And I remember the formulas. As long as marginal revenue greater than marginal cost, we keep produce it. And we use some formulas to get profit. And before starting the graph, I'm gonna write something. In the graph question, we mostly find price, average total cost, and average variable cost. How can we understand? Can we continue to produce or not? That is the way for understanding. Let's assume that price is greater than average total cost, greater than average variable cost. We get positive profit. When we get positive profit, we continue to produce it. The second option is average total cost greater than price, greater than average variable cost. We get negative profit, but we are still continuing to produce it because we can cover the total fixed cost and cover the sum average variable cost. That's why I continue to produce it. But at that condition, average total cost greater than average variable cost greater than price, we get negative profit and we shut down our firm. That means that we cannot cover the total fixed cost and total variable cost. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna come over here, but before that, let's make a question. But I'm gonna open my notability. Okay. How can I ask the graph question? It's like that. I'm gonna write the steps over here. In the first step, you are going to find the intersection point of marginal revenue and marginal cost. Can I use a pointer? Huh. We can use the intersection point of marginal revenue and marginal costs. When you find that point, you draw a direct line. The bottom part show the quantity. Then you come to the other part. In the intersection point of direct line and demand curve give the price value. The direct line and average total cost intersection give the value of average total cost. And the intersection point of direct line and average variable cost give the value of average variable cost. Then you are going to calculate all these steps, okay? So I'm gonna ask in that sense. I'm not gonna give the steps, but you should memorize it. Okay, let's start it. The first step is find the intersection point of marginal revenue and marginal cost. We can find at that level, at that point. At that intersection point, we draw a direct line. Okay, let's draw it. The bottom part show quantity. So 10 is equal to quantity. Then we find the intersection point of direct line and ATC. It's over here. That give the value of ATC 6. Then intersection point of direct line and ABC. It's over here. It's equal to 5. Okay. Then we are going to calculate the details. Okay, let's calculate it. Let's assume that total revenue. I forget something. Sorry about it. The direct line and demand curve intersection give the price. But in the question, I already give the price. So this is the price. Normally, this is the first step, but it doesn't matter for which one is first. The matter is finding the price, average total cost, and average variable cost. So 8 multiply 10, 80. Total cost, average total cost, 6 multiply 10, 60. Average total cost, 5. You can see over there, multiply 10, 50. For the total fixed cost, if know these total cost and total variable cost, 60 minus 50, this is 10. And maybe I'm gonna ask profit. 8 minus 6 multiply 10. So it's equal to 20. Okay, the questions solve like that. Okay, let's move to our presentation again. So I said already, the profit you can find positive, 0, and negative by using that formula. And that condition marginal revenue equal to marginal cost condition show profit will be maximum or loss will be minimum. Okay. These are the examples. Okay, let's do it together. The market said the price is 15. How can we solve it? This is not a question. I'm just gonna show the steps. I already showed the question type. First, find the intersection point of marginal cost and marginal revenue. Then draw the direct line. The bottom part show the quantity. Then we find the intersection point of direct line and average total cost that show the average total cost level. Then find the intersection point of direct line and average variable cost, show the average variable cost value. Then you are going to calculate the all formulas. So you should know the formulas. I'm not gonna give in the question. And if, let's do that example. Let's think that the demand curve go through to the minimum point of average total cost. What can it happen? Firstly, we find the intersection point of marginal revenue and marginal cost. Then draw the direct line. The bottom part show the quantity. And intersection point of direct line and demand curve show the price. Then find the intersection point of direct line and ATC. Again, that point. Show the ATC. What can we see over here? Price equal to average total cost. So at that point, when price equal to average total cost, profit is equal to 0. But our steps also show the intersection point of direct line and average total cost give the value of average variable cost. I'm not sure. The last step, we find the intersection point of direct line and average variable cost. Okay. Then you are going to calculate all things, total revenue, total cost, total fixed cost. It's like that. And if the price below the average total cost level, the profit going to the minimum, not minimum, negative numbers. So at that point, average total cost greater than average variable cost greater than the price. So if you see that shape, you are going to shut down our firm. So let's assume that price is equal to 2. First, we find the intersection point of MRMC, then direct line, bottom part show quantity, then find the intersection point of demand, average total cost, and average variable cost. Okay? Then calculate the formulas. I'm not gonna write the all formulas, but you should know. If demand curve go through to the minimum point of average total cost, that is called break-even point. That means that profit is equal to 0 and price is equal to the minimum point of average variable cost. That is called shutdown point. When we move down to that shutdown point, we are shut down our firm. Okay, let's come to the last example. The macro part, gross domestic product. In the formulas of gross domestic product, I said GDP contain the value of production of final goods and services. That is important part. We cannot include the intermediate goods. I'm not sure, but I'm not gonna add value added question, but value added also include your exam, okay? I'm not gonna say anything about it, but you should look at it, okay? So the question said we have four types of final goods and services. If you see final goods, you can include into the calculation. If some goods not final goods, it's intermediate goods, you can delete that row, okay? Okay, let's do it. And in the question give, I'm gonna delete that part. The base year is 2022. That means that in our calculation nominal GDP, we cannot use the base year, but for calculating real GDP, we can use the base year. What is the difference for nominal GDP and real GDP? The difference is in real GDP, we eliminate the price effect by fixing the price. And for fixing the price, we use the base year price. Okay, let's start it. Let's look at the question. In the first, nominal GDP for 2 years, real GDP for 2 years, growth rate, and inflation by using GDP deflator. In nominal GDP, we calculate the value of production by getting the price of what year I asked to you, and for the quantity, what year I asked you. So in the first part, I asked the 2022. So we get the price of 2022 and quantity for the 2022. So 2000 multiply 5, 1000 multiply 8, 250 multiply 2, 1500 multiply 6. Okay. For the price, what year I asked to you? I asked the 2022. And for the quantity, again, what year I asked to you? Okay. So that's all. And the answer is that one. 27,500. Let's delete that part. Then get the pen. I'm not gonna move, sorry about it. I think, oops. Okay, then open again. Sorry for that problem. We have a two question. But firstly, solve the first one. Sorry about the technical issues. Okay, I can tell it. Okay, let's talk about the nominal GDP for 2023. This time I asked the 2023. We get the price of what year I asked to you. And for the quantity, what year I asked to you. Okay, you see, for the price, we get the what year I asked to you. And for the quantity, again, what year I asked to you. Then the answer is, so there's no problem for calculating the nominal GDP. Yeah, let's come to the base year. And in the base year, I'm gonna write over here. Oops. Yeah, or I can tell in the base year, the nominal GDP and real GDP is equal because we are fixing the price at that question 2022. We are fixing the price. We get the base year price and for the quantity, what year I asked to you. If I ask 2022, we get the quantity of 2022. If I ask the 2023, we get the 2023 quantity. But for the price, we are fixing the price. That's why we get the base year price. Okay. So in the base year, I said we get the base year price. And for the quantity, I get the different color. For the quantity, what year I asked to you. Sorry, I can write the wrong. Again, same. Sorry about it. Okay, let's start again to understand easily. Uh, when we talk about the real GDP, we get the base year price. So base year is 2022. Okay. And for the quantity, what year I asked to you. And in the base year, nominal GDP and real GDP is equal. You see, it's look like the nominal GDP of 2022, the same number. What about 2023? I said in the real GDP, we get the base year price. Price is 2022. And for the quantity, we get the what year I asked to you, okay? That's the point. So for quantity, we get that part. For the price, that part. So 2000 is like that. Okay. And let's talk about the growth. For the growth, we use the percentage change formula. And which indicator can we choose, nominal or real? The nominal GDP contains the price effect. We cannot understand the increase or decrease part come from the price changes or quantity changes. And growth means or growth related with the production. So we try to understand where it come from, exactly show the quantity changes. That's why we have to eliminate the price effect and the real GDP do that eliminate the price effect. So when we talk about growth rate, we choose the real GDP, okay? Growth means real. And I said we use the percent change formula. What firstly, for the percentage change formula, we get the what year I asked to you, then 1 year earlier divided 1 year earlier. Multiply, this is the rate. That's why we multiply the hundreds, okay? And we find the numbers over here, and the growth rate is equal to 150. And the last question for that one, we can able to find the inflation by using GDP deflator. GDP deflator formula is nominal divided real, multiply 100. Okay, let's to get our previous answer. We can find for the 2 years again. That is look like the growth rate. GDP deflator 2022, nominal GDP 2022 divided real GDP 2022. and one more thing. In the base year 2022, I said nominal equal to real. That's why always in the base year, GDP deflator is equal to 100. Okay. And we can do for the 2022, we find another answer. And then we able to calculate the inflation by using GDP deflator. It's again look like the percentage change formula. Okay. Another question. Uh, Maybe in your exam, I mentioned that these goods are final good and these goods are intermediate goods. Please don't forget, intermediate goods cannot calculate in GDP because final goods already get these values in the calculation. Okay, let's look at the question. Let's consider a simple economy that produces three types of goods and services, two final goods and one intermediate goods. When you see intermediate goods, you can delete it, okay? Pizza, final goods. Latte, final goods. Cheese pour pizza, intermediate goods. You can delete it. So we can delete cheese on that row. If we can include it, we can make double counting error, okay? That's why we have a two option over here, pizza and latte. We get the final goods, not intermediate goods, okay? Again, the same questions. I'm not gonna tell, but you are going to maybe studying it. So we delete the cheese over there. This time 3 years. And if I'm not gonna mention the base year, you cannot calculate the real GDP. But these parts related with the nominal GDP. And question said base year is 2023. In the real GDP, we get the price of base year. For the quantity, what year I asked you. You see that for the price, we get the base year price. And for the quantity, what year I asked to you. And growth rate, we get the real GDP. Sorry about it. Okay, 20. I ask for the 2 years. Firstly, we get the what year I asked to, then 1 year earlier, divided 1 year earlier number. And for the inflation, I'm not gonna tell the detail, but I give some questions for preparing you. And the last question is inflation for the, oops, sorry about it, 2023. So we need to find GDP deflator 2022 and GDP deflator for 2023. Then we can able to use the inflation formula for the 2023. Again, it's the percentage change formula. I think that's all. Okay, thanks for watching that video. I think, or I hope you are going to get the good results from your final. Good luck. Başarılar. See you on the exam. Bye bye.